And now,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Please fasten your seatbelts.
Welcome to PreneurCast
You know, business cards being swapped, beers being drunk.
Can I say a nasty word? Can I say procrastination?
with Pete Williams and Dom Gosher.
how well did that go down?
Talk about that entire thing in a very another rant and soapbox episode if we want to.
Visit us online at preneurmarketing.com.
Hey gang, Pete here. Now let me be really quick this morning. As you know, Dom and I are having a short break from the show, and we'll be back in just a couple of weeks with brand new live editions of the PreneurCast marketing podcast. But in the meantime, we're replaying some of the best episodes we've had over the past 3 years. But before I tell you about today's episode, can I ask a quick favour? If you're listening to our almost 150 shows but haven't left a review, please do so. Grab the application or the device you're listening to us on right now and give us a quick review or a rating. It really helps the show and we really do appreciate it. So quick thanks in advance. And now let's get on to one of our better shows from early in the series. This episode was called Low Hanging Fruit. And Dom and I discuss a whole bunch of things that you can start doing to improve one or more of your business's 7 levers straight away. No matter whether you're an online or offline business, multi-million dollar business or just a startup, there's absolutely 1 or 2 things from this show you can implement and benefit from straight away. So enjoy the show, don't forget to leave that review, and Dom and I will be back very, very shortly with brand new episodes. Speak to you then. So, you know, it's kind of a culmination of a few questions that came back from the recent community survey we had. So it's sort of a few people asked that question in different ways. And it's also something that I think we spoke about maybe 3 or 4 episodes back where I kind of, you know, made the point, which is kind of going to be ironic in a moment. And my point was that, you know, if someone says these are things you should be doing in your business, take that with a very big grain of sea salt because you got to check the context and check the relevance to your business because not every business needs a website. And some businesses, Yellow Pages is still the best place to advertise. So horses for courses, message to market match. But I think there are a whole bunch of things that, you know, we've spoken on the podcast and on the blog and in various places that for the majority of businesses, these are going to be the low-hanging fruit for the business or for the entrepreneur to get more leverage in what you're doing. So I thought we could sort of just run through these today, touch on them, talk about some of them, dig deep on others, and just give people a bit of a mental checklist to go through and sort of think, okay, yes, I could be doing this in my business, or no, it's not relevant to me, or I should really reinvestigate how I am doing this in my business and how I can do it better. So there's no real direct order to the list. It sort of just came about from sort of penning some ideas down. So there's not really categorized or anything. So it's a bit all over the shop, but I think it could be a really cool sort of just mental checklist for people to think, okay, am I doing all these things that, you know, are low hanging fruit for a lot of businesses and a lot of entrepreneurs?
Cool. So it's an ideas show, yeah?
Pretty much.
Cool. Let's crack on then.
All right. So number 1 on my list was AdWords. And I think this ties back into the Preneur Hierarchy episode and that whole framework that we talk about a bit. Because, you know, with your marketing dollars, the best ROI for attracting new leads to your business is getting in front of people who have their wallets half open, trying to find a solution for a problem they've already identified. That's what you should be doing with your marketing. And, you know, as we spoke about, AdWords is predominantly the place people go these days when they're looking for a solution. It was the Yellow Pages, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 years ago. Now it's AdWords. So no matter what business you're in, you should be working out and at least testing AdWords to see if it's a way to generate traffic for your business. There's a client I've been working with recently, and we've been sort of doing a whole bunch of stuff for his business and things like that. And he operates in a very, very small niche and a very small geographical niche as well. And, you know, the first response was, I don't know if AdWords is really going to be the best ROI for me, or there's going to be a lot of wastage, because there was the thought that if he advertises on AdWords, it's going to have to hit the entire state or the entire country. Whereas what you can do with AdWords that I don't think a lot of people are aware of is that you can actually take your postcode or your longitude, latitude area of where your business is located and say, I only want my adverts to show to people within a 10-mile radius of this particular point on the map. So yes, your impressions are going to be very, very low. But if you maximize your advert by putting in your address details and linking it to your Google Maps account, which will automatically give you an additional line of your AdWords listing, and put in local words in the actual ad title or ad copy, it's going to get very, very targeted and should be very, very cost effective, and thus give you a very, very good ROI. So no matter what you're doing, I think AdWords can be used very, very intelligently.
Yeah, well, let's just clarify there, though. In terms of return on investment, it's very important. Anybody who's not used AdWords or hasn't really thought about it for whatever reason, the most important and most significant thing about AdWords is you only pay if somebody clicks on your advert.
Absolutely, it's
a model they call cost per click. So that example you gave, where you're absolutely super mega targeting your advert, and there's lots of ways of targeting the adverts, but the point is, however many times people see it, or the number of people that see it, or what they call impressions, as long as the people that actually click the advert are the people you really want to, if you target your advert well, that's a good way of doing it. And obviously we'll talk about split testing, I'm sure, as one of your things. But if your advert is well targeted and you only pay if they click it, then that principle in itself is a high return on investment, isn't it?
Absolutely, exactly right. It's unlike billboard advertising or traditional advertising where you're paying for eyeballs, you're paying for conversions, you're paying for results, you're paying for response, which is great.
Yeah, and that is it. I mean, look, just for flagging back to the Preneur hierarchy for a second, some people see all forms of advertising at the top of the pyramid at that spray and pray, just show it everybody. Now, billboards are the epitome of spray and pray in a way, because they are, you don't know who's seen it, who's reacted to it, what they're doing, and who's going to see it. But advertising on things like AdWords, where you can really, really target, it is, as you're back to your example, it is finding the people who have already identified that they've got a problem and are actively looking for a solution, because they're typing a search into Google and your advert turns up as part of the responses to that search. So it's not spray and pray, it is targeted marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess an extension to that, which is sort of, I touched on it before, is Google Maps, because that's the next extension of that sort of thing, because with mobile devices being so prevalent these days, that Google Maps is a big part of the people's searching for a solution, particularly if you're in that sort of space that is sort of instant problem, instant solution type of marketplace. So maybe you're a takeaway food shop, you're a chemist, you're that kind of thing. When someone goes, "Oh, I need this now," and it's not really a long, drawn-out thought process. Maybe you're a massage parlor or something like that. That Google Maps is a very, very prominent place to be putting your business and making sure you're maximizing this. And this is sort of, I think, something we touched on, I think it was in the episode last week, or it might have been a consulting conversation, where you really want to make sure you're maximizing your Google Maps listing, because just having a Google Maps listing does not mean you're really picking all the low-hanging fruit. The picking of the entire fruit that's available to you is when you actually maximize that Google Maps listing by putting videos and images and content and keywords and really getting everything you can out of that Maps listing.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, AdWords versus Google Maps, I would say that Google Maps is even lower hanging fruit because it's completely and utterly and totally free.
Yep.
A Google Maps or Google Places listing is something that really there's no reason why you shouldn't do it if you have a physical place of business, which is really the kind of anchor point for a Google Map or Google Places listing. But it's completely free. And then once you've made the listing or once you've started your listing, you're absolutely right. Just having one isn't enough. There's lots of opportunity to promote your business. And this is exactly, we did start talking about it last week, because this is, and talking back to the things we talked about last week on leakage, there's so many opportunities to add more information about your business, about your services. You can add opening hours, the kind of payment methods you've got. You can add photographs and video. There's so many things you can add So go ahead and do it, because it's all free. None of it costs you anything to reach more people and to give a much better presence for your business when people are searching. Absolutely.
So that's sort of the bottom of the Preneur hierarchy type of stuff, which is very, very low hanging fruit. Something else that I kind of noted down was just your email signature. And it's very sort of simple. And this is, again, not really an out there marketing idea, but from a low hanging fruit perspective, do you have some sort of call to action on some level in your email signature? Maybe it's just, have you read our most recent blog post, or have you checked out this free report, or just, have you got a decent signature in there? It's very, very small, and a lot of people kind of just overlook it because it's an email signature. But you might pick up a few extra clicks here and there because it's something that gets forwarded on every day, and you do it once, and it's set and forget for the next 6 months or 12 months till you look at changing it again. So just something small like that is worth considering. What is your email signature doing? Is there a call to action for a lesser known product? Don't necessarily sell the thing that everyone knows about when they can consider you and your business, but is there something that's lesser known that you offer? Maybe you're an accountant that also offers self-managed 401k or super funds. Maybe you're a web development company that also offers press release distribution, or you're that sort of business that by educating the clients about the other lesser known services, there's extra revenue for you. And that's coming back to that whole 7 levers thing, is you're getting more items and more transactions per client per year.
Absolutely. And again, that was something, letting your clients know that you can perform a service, letting them know your capabilities, was something that we talked about last week. It's another form of leakage. If people don't know you can do something, there's no way you're ever going to sell that service or product.
You are loving this leakage thing, aren't you?
Dude, honestly, I made an entire show out of it last week, and I had stuff left over. It's just, but yeah, going back to the seven levers, and your emails go out to not only new people but existing people. And it's that, as you say, repeat business. One of my consulting clients does this brilliantly, because all of their staff are communicating communicating with their clients on a regular basis via email and lots of other mediums. But email is a primary part of their business, just to communicate backwards and forwards. They have standardized, their admin team communicate, but also the actual people working in the business do as well. And their signature is regularly updated with, the latest podcast or the latest interview or the latest newsletters out. They announced that they've updated their website to a new design. They're really on top of this, really doing a fantastic job with it. And it's so effective, and it's so simple. It's just a little thing. It sits there and it goes with every communication you make. And it's a great way. Another low-hanging fruit, easy thing to do.
Yep. Something else that's very, very easy to help your productivity when we sort of think about email is using filters and using, automation around your email inbox, because, so many people get so many emails that you just don't really need to actually digest or do anything with. And it just takes up space in your inbox, stress, and a bit of mind share. So putting filters and automatic tags in your emails is just such a very easy thing to do to just help you manage your inbox a lot better and get on top of that. It's very much a low-hanging productivity piece of fruit. So there's a blog post that I've done recently on PreneurMarketing.com, which is talking about how I kind of reach my version of Inbox Zero. And it talks about, using the filters and how to actually get them set up and all that sort of stuff. So, if you haven't got email filters working in your inbox, I highly suggest you check out that post or another post and just look at how that can actually work for you, because there is huge benefits of time saving and headspace saving you can get by putting filters in place.
I have two riders to that. One is my all-time favorite email filter is the unsubscribe link.
Very true. Very, very true.
If it's not coming in the first place, you don't need to worry about filtering it out now, do you?
And what the funny thing is so many productivity experts don't mention that because of the fear that their subscriber is going to unsubscribe from their list. Which I find kind of ironic, because if you're really objective orientated as a teacher, for want of a better term, if they actually unsubscribe from your list and get more productive, hasn't their time with you been effective? So realistically, as much as I'd hate to say it, let's be completely transparent about this. If people stop spending an hour listening to the podcast every week, but actually truly invest that hour properly in their business, working through the 7 levers because they know enough about it now, our time here is well spent, and we wish you the best of luck. Now, obviously, we hope you don't do that and you unsubscribe from everybody else because they're wasting your time and not being honest with you. But realistically, what's the point of this show if you don't actually implement? And if the only time you can implement is by giving this up to implement, go and implement. But just don't give it up to take up another bad habit.
Wow, that was a bit deep.
Well, it was, but I'm serious, isn't that the whole objective?
No.
Of sort of, what the whole point of learning is to implement. So, if the way you have to implement is by getting rid of everything, then get rid of everything and work on your business and then shoot us an email in 12 months' time when you remember us going, hey, that one thing you told me to say, leave us and go and do something else and make it happen, and it worked. Fantastic.
I'm not. By the way, I am not disagreeing with you. I'm 100% with you on that. I would like to think that we add value every week. We bring something to each show, and it adds value, and people feel that they've spent the time well.
Are you going to edit out that little rant?
I am not. It's staying in. No, seriously, because I'm going to say it again. I'm with you 100%. We are about taking action to improve your business, and if you really seriously can use this 45-minute window better, let's say you actually stop what you're doing. Let's say you don't listen to it in the car, you don't listen to it while you're walking the dog. You actually sit at a desk or wherever and you listen to this and don't do anything else. So you don't kind of utilize the time to multitask or whatever, then, and you think that this hour would be better spent implementing the stuff from the previous 55 shows or even just the 7 levers, go ahead. Please, everyone, go ahead, because I would be happy to know that we'd had a sufficient effect, that you got enough from what we do, that you can go and implement it, because it's about taking action. And yeah, please, if you do that, by the way, do come back and let us know. Just drop us a line.
Mark it in your calendar 1 year from now to send us an email and see how you went.
Yeah. I'd like to think people will stay with us, and that's my personal. With that, before your little segue on that one, my personal view is that you should regularly go through the things, the materials that you receive, the magazines that you subscribe to, or now it's all email newsletters and things. And if what happens is that on any given day you're clicking, in Gmail there's an archive button, for example, or even move to folder or whatever. And if every day what you're doing is ticking an email without opening it, 10 or 15 emails, you're ticking them and clicking move to the folder or archive or whatever. Take time at the end of the week, open those emails, open the last few that you got from that person. If they're really not adding any value to you, it's not even worth archiving them. Just unsubscribe. Stop them arriving, because every time you have to do that, it takes some energy away from you. Use the automated filters to filter things of value that you're going to read later as part of the process. But if you're genuinely not getting value or not going to read them, just get rid of them. Stop it.
Yes, Dad.
Sorry.
Stop it. So
Stop it.
I guess sort of the whole, filtering in your emails thing is coming back to learning to use the tools you've got. That's sort of, I guess, low-hanging fruit. If you're doing something like you're using Office Autopilot or Infusionsoft or some sort of software, learn how to maximize that, because, by actually maximizing the tools you're already paying for and already using could be a very, very low-hanging piece of fruit that you can use to get more results in your business, whether it's more time, more leads, more opt-ins, better margins, whatever it might be, just sort of getting more efficient with that. So that's sort of the learn to use your tools thing that I know you're very focused on, Dom.
Absolutely. And that speaks to something that you and I speak about quite a lot, which is very often people will pick up a new tool because it's new and shiny, and think that having a new tool is going to solve a problem, when the problem is either knowledge or process related. It's not tool related, And this goes back to the very, very old days. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day where we were talking about advanced web design tools and stuff like that. And they were completely shocked when I said, you do know that actually it's possible, and has always been possible, to write the basics of a web page with just a text editor.
Yep.
You know, the tools that we have and have had for years are incredibly powerful. And there's so many features that we don't use in them. I mean, Gmail, for example. I'm a big Gmail user, and Gmail filters. A lot of people just don't use them. Back to the previous point. They don't even know they're there. Don't know what they do. Don't know. And that another tool that you and I use all day, every day between ourselves and between our team, that really, really helps. And I'm going to somewhere do something about this to tell people how we use this. But it's Dropbox.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Pretty much, if you're in business and have any way of have any need to communicate with anybody, and certainly to share any kind of information within a team, if you're not using Dropbox, you really are doing something the hard way. But at the same time, I deal with people new to Dropbox every day, and they're unaware of certain things that you can do with it. They take it as it's advertised. It's a way of sharing files. You put it in here, it pops up there. But there's some fantastic features to Dropbox that really can enhance your use for it, just by learning about the tool. So I'm 100%. Yeah, as you say, it's one of my favorite topics. Learn to use the tools you've got before you start looking for a new one, because there's a lot of low hanging fruit there.
Absolutely. The next one on my list is another Google tool. It seems to be kind of a bit of a Google love fest tonight, but remarketing lists. And this is something that probably a lot of people aren't aware of. A function of Google AdWords allows you to create what they term remarketing lists. And the concept is this, that you can put a little bit of code on your webpage or on your website, and then as people come to your website, they get tagged as a visitor. And that way you can build up almost like an invisible list of your web visitors. So you don't get their email address, you don't get any data about them. All you know is how many people are on this invisible list. And then what you can do with that is you can then run banner advertising across the web directly to the people who have previously visited your website. So let's say, for example, you sell something that has a long buy cycle. So maybe you're in real estate, maybe you're in investment, maybe you're in life insurance, or a range of other niches that are relevant where it comes to long buying cycles. They come, they get quotes, they think about it, they come back. And what you can do is you can basically tag people when they come to your website for the very first time, and then follow them around the web with banner adverts, no matter what website they're going to. If that website has banner ads ran by the Google platform, your ads will appear exclusively to those people. So you're getting a very targeted list of people to sell to or remarket to that have already somewhat put their hand up and made themselves known as a potential prospect. Now, you can get very, very clever with this. And what you can do is you can make a specific remarketing list for people who went to your e-commerce checkout page but didn't actually purchase. So it's almost like your list of cart abandonment people. And then offer them a 5% discount for the next 36 hours. So the banner can say, hey, haven't purchased from us, or you have purchased from us, or we noticed you haven't purchased and we want to give you a 5% discount. Or simply just, hey, 5% discount off abc.com for e-commerce purchases in the next 24 hours. So it's a very cool way of building up this invisible list of just browsers to your website, because if they come and don't convert or don't opt in, as we talk about in the 7 levers, what you can do is still get a chance to market back to them in a very, very cost-effective way. And whether you can actually do the banners and build that up straight away, that's up to you. But I do encourage everyone who has a website to actually spend the 1 hour learning how to set up a remarketing campaign. It does take all of about 7 minutes. But if you haven't done it before, it might take an hour of reading and things like that, and getting the code organized on your website. So you're building this list up that can build up for 6 months, and you might get back to it in 6 months' time. But at least in 6 months' time, you have this little database of 200,000 tagged prospects you can start marketing back to.
Yeah, that I have to say that it wasn't really until after you first talked about that, you and I have talked about it a while ago. It wasn't until after you first talked about it that I started to notice that. It's a very subliminal thing. You go to a website in response to whatever, and the first time I noticed it was actually in response to an advert that appeared at the top of Gmail. And I went to the website and I looked at it, and I didn't opt in. I didn't do anything particular with that company. I was just interested by their advert. Then all of a sudden, I just started seeing these banners for that company in various other places that I'd been that did banner advertising. And they just kept appearing. In fact, they were appearing quite a lot because it was, I think, early on in the service, and very few people were using it. So they were getting a lot of exposure. But it's a great, and your tip is really good, actually. I really like that, because to just get the code on your website and start collecting the notifications that these people have been there before, is that free?
It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost a cent to build a database.
Right. So you're building a database of people that at some point have visited your website. So, and then as you say, later on when you decide to actually do a banner ad campaign, which you will then pay for, obviously, you've got actually targeted user data. These are people that have shown an interest in your service, no less.
They're already aware of your business.
Yeah. So reminding them for whatever reason is great. I think that's a great tip. It's really good.
I just want to make a request that can everyone please go and visit preneurmedia.tv in about 2 days' time, because I haven't put remarketing on that site. So anybody who's been there previously, can you just come back? Just you can stay on the site for like 2 seconds. You don't have to play around. Just come back and get tagged. That's all I'm asking.
Or, folks, you could visit preneurmedia.tv, because that's where the show notes and transcripts to all the shows are.
Oh, so there's more value than just getting our remarketing list. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those things that we always recommend that you give value to people if you want them to do something for you. So I'm just going to give you some value there, folks.
You listen to the show. I love it. Well, something else that I've got moving on, and that is, again, something that I think you actually added to this list, which we were playing around with recently, loyalty cards. And I know you're a big advocate for these.
Yeah, it's one of those really simple little things. We talk about, it's a 7 levers principle. Get people to come back to your store and buy from you again. To get a 10% increase in your number of transactions per customer, you need one customer in 10 to come back one more time. And a great way to do that is a loyalty card. You go to the local copy shop. It doesn't have to be elaborate. There's loads of different ways you can get these done. You come up with a very simple design. You could use, your word processor or whatever it is. Doesn't have to be elaborate. Go down to the local. Well, go to somewhere and get yourself a little rubber stamp, or even just be prepared to biro an initial on them, whatever it might be, something unique, and just get yourself a bunch of loyalty cards. And offer them to the people, customers, stick them in the bag when they buy something, whatever, that come to your store. And the idea is that when they fill out when they come for a number of visits, it doesn't have to be electronic and clever and difficult. It's just like you come for a number of visits, and if you spend a certain amount of money in each visit, which is addressing another one of our levers, but they spend a certain amount of money, then you tick off the box or sign the box or mark the box with a sticker. When the card's full, it's worth something. It's worth a free something. If you're a service oriented, like a hairdresser or a nail salon or whatever, it's worth a discount. If you sell goods, it's worth something. And the added low hanging fruit, because we talk about communicating with your customers and finding ways of doing that, very few retail stores actually have a way of collecting the names and addresses of the people that visit their store. So a lot of people that we talk to in retail stores, when we say, the 7 levers, and you need to communicate with your offers to your customers and talk to them so that they come back and let them know what your new offers are. And they say, but we don't collect names and addresses. It's really difficult. And we suggest loyalty cards, because one of the things you can do is, instead of just giving the loyalty cards, you can actually get these people to give you their name and address either when you give them the card or when they give it you for redemption. You say, hey, would you mind filling out your email address or something on the back of the card as a way of showing that it's complete and it was yours and we got it from you. You've got their email address.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just weird that This is very, very prevalent in the coffee space. Subway do it as well. But, this is what I think a lot of people need to do when they're thinking about their business. And I don't know how we could do this as a show, but we could try and work out a way to do this. Talk about cross-industry marketing, because if you're in the coffee game, it's kind of just par for the course that you do a loyalty card. It's just what you do if you're in the coffee game. Everyone does that. But if you're in the hairdressing game, if you're in the footwear game, if you're in the indoor spin class bicycle service game, it's not a common thing. But why not? And this is something that it always intrigues me that there's so many opportunities for businesses if they just look at what other industries do as standard and see how they could apply that to their business. So maybe we could, marinate on a show potentially one day. Maybe listeners can email in some stuff that they're doing that's unique to their industry that they think could be applied to other businesses, and we can maybe sort of do an example show with a whole bunch of stuff that's very, very prevalent for certain industries that aren't for others.
That's a great idea, because there really are. There's examples of great business practices everywhere, and some people don't notice them because they're not in their industry. As you say, coffee shops have been doing loyalty cards, and another version of a loyalty card is our local sports centre. You can go and you can buy a day ticket for whatever the service is, use the sauna and spa or the pool or whatever, or you can buy a multi-ticket. And if you buy 10 of these entry tickets in one go, you get like a massive discount. It's like half price. But in order to get the multi-ticket, you have to fill out a form with your contact details, and they've got you on the mailing list. Plus, also, you're basically committing to going back and using the service. You're committing to going and experiencing whatever else they want you to see while you're there again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's that's a sports centre. Most people going to sports centres aren't looking for business ideas. They're looking to, well, I don't know. Depends what you go to the sports centre for, but
Speak for yourself. I go there to get fit.
Of course you do. Of course you do. I go there to look at people like you and go, oh, crikey, he looks enthusiastic, doesn't he?
Oh, mate, if you want to see someone fit, check out a new book called Finding Ultra by Rich Roll. Now, this is not going to be a Rick roll. I'm not going to Rick roll listeners, but if you go and check out Finding Ultra by Rich Roll, which is on Amazon, I think it's on Audible, so audibletrial.com/PreneurCast, and you can get a copy of that. But this guy is one of the 25 fittest people in the world, pure vegan. Very interesting.
Yeah, do you know what? We're just going to stop talking about that. I watched the promo video for that, and that was enough for me. I was exhausted.
So let's give one more or maybe two more examples before we wrap up, because obviously
sure.
We're getting close to time. So another thing that I talk to a lot of people about is upsell raffles. And this is, again, fitting with the 7 levers to get people to spend more. How do you get to increase the spend per client, per transaction? And with a supermarket I was working with a while ago, what we did there is we actually worked out that their average transaction value was hypothetically, I can't remember what it was, but let's say it's $67 is the average supermarket shop. So we went, okay, let's try and get that to 80. Let's try and increase that by almost 20%. So what we did is we then put a raffle available. So at the end of every week, there was a $100 voucher or a $100 parcel of, bottle of wine, some really nice chocolates, whatever it might be. And then anybody who actually spent more than $80 in the next week got a free entry into the raffle. So to qualify for the raffle, I had to actually spend $80. So yes, there was people who were already spending on $80 who got free entries for not doing anything, not changing their habit. And that's fine. But for everybody below that, it was a great way to pull the average value up, because people were thinking, well, for extra $10, yeah, look, I may as well just buy that extra block of chocolate I was going to get, or the extra, I'll buy the 24 roll of toilet paper as opposed to the 6 roll of toilet paper. And just by forcing people to change their buying habits and their consumption process, actually got that result of an increased lever. And it's very, very easy to do, just working out work out the last 100 transactions you've had, What is the grand total of that value? Divide it by 100. That's clearly your average transaction value. Jack that up a little bit and give a raffle. It takes all of an hour to set up, and you could find a significant increase in your revenue for the next 10, 14, 24, 30 days, however long you want to run that raffle for.
Yeah, I mean that's a great example. I mean, just the loyalty cards, as I said, with loyalty cards, if somebody spends over a certain amount, they get a tick in the box. That's another way of doing that. Petrol or gas stations, depending on where you come from, do this. I don't know if they do this where you are, but they do this certainly in Europe. They'll say, spend this much, and then you can buy this extra thing at a discount. It's quite amazing. You see people look at it and go, wow, what a great offer. I'll give you more money, and then I'll give you some more.
Brilliant marketing.
But it's very, very, very clever way of doing it. But I love the raffle idea because it's so simple to do. You're not committing to give everybody something. You're actually just giving them an entry into a raffle. But yeah, it's a great way to increase revenue.
Yeah. And the final one is a bit of a tie-in of all those last couple of things together, and that's simply having a point of sale offer. If you're a retail store, having something on that transaction platform where you actually do the transaction to say, hey, buy that extra chocolate bar when you purchase your gas. Very, very simple, easy, low-hanging fruit way to increase the items per sale. So that's another sort of 7-lever related, easy, implementable, low-hanging marketing piece of fruit.
Indeed. In fact, you could probably see examples of quite a lot of those things we just talked about if you were to study another business like Amazon, who's one of my favorite online businesses to study and see how they do things and then go and copy it, because I think they might know what they're doing with this stuff. Absolutely. And they do point of sale offer like nobody else.
GoDaddy?
GoDaddy, yeah, they're less subtle about it, but yeah, they're crazy about that. But that's a great range, as you said. It was not particularly organised into groups, but it's a great range of things that anybody. I mean, there's something there for everybody. Even if point of sale offer applies not just to bricks and mortar and retail stores, but to online or information product sales or whatever it is. Some form of competition or some form of offer, if somebody spends enough, is applicable. And all the rest of them are all, I think, applicable. So there's something there for everybody, I think. So it's a great bunch of tips.
You've been enjoying another fine episode of PreneurCast with Pete Williams and Dom Gocher. Make sure to hang out with the boys online at www.preneurmarketing.com or drop them a line via PreneurCast@preneurgroup.com.